The scream came so loud that even the hens behind the compound ran in different directions. It was a scream that froze every living thing around Umuokoro village. The kind of scream that makes your heart stop for 1 second, then beat faster than a talking drum. Women carrying firewood stopped on the narrow footpath. A man climbing a palm tree looked down in confusion. Children playing football paused, staring toward the source. The scream came from inside Adaora's small salon beside the old Adaora tree. Before anyone could understand what was happening, Mama Chinya burst out of the shop holding a fistful of her own hair that had fallen off in thick patches. Tears rushed down her cheeks. Her wrapper was half loose, her breathing scattered, her eyes wide like she had seen a spirit. My head, oh! Chokwu Ekwina. Adaora, you have killed me, oh, she cried, shaking her bald patches for the whole world to see. People rushed closer immediately. Chinik. What happened? Why is her hair falling like that? Is it poison? Adaora. Explain yourself, oh. And Adaora, standing inside the doorway of her small mud brick salon, looked like someone whose soul had just left her body. Her hands trembled. Her lips shook. Her eyes refused to blink. She could not move, could not talk, could not defend herself. All she could do was whisper under her breath, "It was not supposed to happen like this." But nobody heard. Or maybe they did, and it only made things worse. More villagers gathered. Someone shouted, "Call her mother." Another yelled, "Tie her. She must talk today." A group of young boys pushed forward to see the drama. Older women touched their own hair in fear, whispering, "God forbid. What kind of thing is this?" The crowd surrounded Adaora, their questions flying like arrows. What did you rub on her head? Why is it peeling? Adaora, answer. You want to blind us? Is it juju? Tell us before we burn this shop. But the most dangerous question came from a quiet woman who stepped forward slowly, Ngozi, known in the village for minding her own business and never speaking unless necessary. She didn't shout like others. Instead, she looked Adaora straight in the eyes and asked, "How long have you been doing this to people?" The entire crowd turned silent. Even the birds stopped making noise. Adaora's legs weakened. Her chest rose and fell as fear gripped her stomach. Ngozi's voice didn't shake. "Tell us the truth today." It felt like the ground beneath Adaora opened. The truth she had been hiding for months was now standing in the open air. She could see herself at the edge of destruction, but she couldn't explain yet, not with all the eyes staring at her, waiting to hear something that could clear her or finish her forever. But this whole disaster did not start today. It started long before Mama Chinya's scream shook the entire village. It started months ago, the day Adaora left Madam Kem's salon. Back then, Adaora had been an apprentice under Madam Kem for 4 long years. 4 years of sweeping the shop from morning until night. 4 years of fetching water, washing dirty towels, buying puff-puff and minerals, cleaning combs, and standing for hours. 4 years of waiting to touch a real customer's head, only for Madam Kem to push her hand away every single time. "No, leave her here. You want to spoil my work," the woman would shout. You never reach. Just sweep there." Adaora always felt the insult like a slap. She worked harder, hoping Madam Kem would finally trust her. But nothing changed. Sometimes when customers praised Adaora's soft hands while she washed their hair, Madam Kem would hiss loudly. "Soft hands cannot run business. She doesn't know anything yet." The words crushed her, but she endured. Because she needed the little money she earned. Because her mother sold roasted plantain and could barely take care of her younger siblings. Because she dreamed of owning her own small salon one day, where nobody would shout at her, where she could work in peace, where women would call her "my best stylist." But the day Madam Kem fell sick and closed the salon for 2 months without paying any apprentice, Adaora felt her heart break into two. She walked home slowly that evening, dust covering her legs, her spirit tired, her future looking like fog. Her mother noticed immediately. "My daughter, what is wrong?" Mama asked gently. Adaora shook her head, wiping her eyes. "I wasted 4 years, Mama." I don't know anything. I don't know where to start. Mama sat beside her and placed a warm hand on her back. You know more than you think. Start your own. Even if it's small. With what money? Adaora whispered. With courage, Mama replied softly. And with these your hands. That night Adaora didn't sleep. She lay awake staring at the ceiling of their small hut. Something inside her heart was becoming bold, pushing her to try. By morning she made up her mind. She gathered all her savings, every little coin. She borrowed small money from Mama Awil. Then she rented a tiny wooden shop beside the Udola tree. When she collected the key, she hugged it to her chest. This is mine, she whispered. Even if it is small. The village women welcomed her warmly. They loved her gentle hands, her patient voice, her bright smile. They sat in her chair and talked about everything, their husbands, their children, their farms, their dreams. And Adaora listened. She liked listening. People praised her neat braiding. Adaora, your hand is too good. This braid go last oh. Chai. You are gifted. At first, she felt like her life was finally opening. Until she noticed something strange. Women did not come back quickly. Her hairstyles lasted too long. Too neat. Too strong. Sometimes they lasted 6, 7 weeks before loosening. Days passed without customers. Then weeks. Her creams reduced, her shampoo finished, her combs broke and she could not replace them. The little money she had saved was disappearing fast. She tried not to cry, but every night she sat alone in the dark shop, her heart heavy. How will I pay next month's rent? How will we eat? God, help me. One evening she sat on her low stool, tears running down her face, when she overheard 2 women passing outside. On. You know Chioma's salon, one said. Yes now, that woman they make money scatter, the second replied. Her hairstyles they loosen quick. Customers they return every week. Business they flow. That woman saw be business. Their voices faded, but their message entered Adaora's heart like a knife. Her chest tightened. Her breath slowed. A salon where hair loosens quick as a secret. A dangerous secret. She sat there long after they left, her mind fighting itself. She didn't want to do anything wrong. She didn't want to hurt anyone. But poverty was already knocking, insulting her, threatening her dreams. That night she cried until she slept. By morning, she made a terrible decision. She mixed a tiny amount of relaxer into her scalp cream. Just a little. Just enough to irritate the scalp a bit so women would return for repairs. Just for a short time, she whispered. Only until I stabilize. The first woman returned after 3 days. Adaora, my head they scratch me small oh I beg make I redo the hair. Adaora's heart beat fast. But the woman paid happily and left smiling. Another returned the next day. Then another. And another. Money entered. Her shop grew. She replaced her broken combs. Bought new oils. Bought a small mirror. Her mother smiled again. Her siblings ate well again. Then greed sneaked in quietly. She added more relaxer. Then a little more. Then too much. Until the day Mama Chinya screamed. Now the whole village stood outside Adaora's shop, looking at her like she was a criminal. Mama Chinya was crying, rubbing her red scalp. Some women were whispering that Adaora might be using charm. Young boys pointed at her and said, she don't kill person. And then Gozi, the quiet woman, stepped forward and asked the question that broke Adaora's spirit completely. How long have you been doing this to people? Adaora felt her heart drop into her stomach. The truth she buried was rising to the surface. She tried to speak, but the words choked her. Her voice failed. Her mouth shook without sound. Ngozi took one more step closer, her eyes sharp. Tell us the truth today, Adaora. And that was when Adaora knew. Her secret was no longer her own. Everything was about to scatter. Adaora felt her legs shaking as everyone stared at her. Her throat burned like someone had tied a rope around it. She wanted to disappear, to run into the bush and never return. But her body refused to move. Her eyes were filling with tears she was trying to swallow. Someone in the crowd shouted, "Talk now." Another yelled, "Adaora, you will not go anywhere today until you explain." Mama Chinya, still crying and holding the hair in her hand, screamed again. "My head, oh. Adaora, what did you rub on my scalp?" Adaora pressed her shaking hands together, trying to steady her voice, but nothing came out. Only small sounds like she was choking on her own breath. Ngozi looked at her for a long moment, then spoke again, but this time her voice was low, almost sad. "I noticed it. I noticed that every time I came here, my hair never lasted. I thought it was heat. But when other women started complaining too, I began to watch quietly." The murmurs grew louder. Adaora felt the ground tilt under her feet. Ngozi continued, "I even brought my cousin last month just to check. Her hair started scratching after 2 days." "Adaora, you did something. Tell us what it is." Adora's chest felt like it would explode. Tears finally broke free and rolled down her cheeks. Her voice cracked as she whispered, I didn't mean to hurt anybody." Someone shouted, "So you admit it?" Another roared, "Kai. This girl is wicked." No. Adaora cried, shaking her head violently. "I swear I didn't plan this. I just wanted to survive. I only wanted to help my family." The crowd leaned closer. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Business was not moving. People liked my work too much, they didn't come back quickly. I was scared I would lose everything. I didn't want to go back to begging. I only put small relaxer inside the cream. Just small." Women gasped loudly. One covered her mouth. Another turned away as if she might vomit. Mama Chinya screamed again. "You poured relaxer on my scalp. So you want to peel my head finish? Are you mad?" Adaora dropped to her knees and grabbed the edge of the doorway. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it would get worse. I didn't know your hair would fall out." A man from the back shouted angrily, "You are lucky she didn't faint. You for explain that one." Another woman cried, "This girl is dangerous." Voices rose. Hands pointed. Fear and anger twisted together like rope. 2 young men stepped forward, their expressions dark. "Make we carry her go village square. Let elders handle this matter." Adaora's heart raced. "Please. Baiko. I didn't mean." But her words cut short when Ngozi lifted her hand for silence. Surprisingly, the entire crowd obeyed. Even the angry men froze. Ngozi walked closer to Adaora, standing only a few steps away. "You did something terrible, yes. But we also need to know how many people you have affected." Adaora wiped tears with shaky fingers. I don't know. Some women complained of scratching. Some came back early. But none like this. I didn't plan this, Ngozi. I swear." Ngozi sighed. "You should have said something before it reached this level." Adaora's voice broke. "I was afraid everyone would abandon my shop. I was afraid of hunger." "You should have feared God more," someone whispered behind her. At that moment, Mama Ijaik, one of the oldest women in the village, stepped forward. She had been watching silently from the back. Her grey wrapper was tied firmly, and her walking stick tapped the ground with each step. "Clear the road," she commanded. The crowd shifted. She walked straight to Adaora and looked her in the eyes. "My daughter, hunger visits every home. But not every home kills to stop it. What you did is dangerous." Adaora broke into sobs. "Mama, forgive me. This apology is not for me," the old woman said quietly. "It is for the women you harmed." Mama Chinya hissed and spat on the ground. "I want my hair back. Will apology bring it back? The crowd murmured again. Then the village chief's guard approached from the back, breathless. Everyone to the square, the guard announced. These wants to see all involved. A fresh wave of fear washed over Adaora. Being summoned to the square meant the matter was now official. Her whole body trembled. If the East judged her harshly, she could be punished publicly, disgraced, banished, or worse. The crowd began moving toward the village square, dragging Adaora along. Some held her arms tightly so she wouldn't run. Children followed, chattering loudly. As they walked, Adaora felt the weight of the entire village pressing against her chest. Women whispered behind her. Men shook their heads. Some looked like they wanted to hit her. Others looked confused, unsure how to feel. She saw her mother pushing through the crowd, her wrapper flying behind her. "Mama!" Adaora cried. Mama rushed to her, tears in her eyes. "What happened? What did you do, Adaora?" Adaora could hardly speak. "Mama. I made a mistake. I mixed something in the cream." Before she finished, her mother covered her mouth with her hand. "Che. Adaora, why? Why would you do that? You promised me you would walk with clean hands." Adaora sobbed into her mother's palm. "I was afraid. Business was dying. I didn't want us to suffer." Her mother's voice broke. "But you have brought shame, great shame." The villagers pulled Adaora away as her mother cried helplessly behind her. When they reached the square, the East was already seated under the large Udala tree. The elders were beside him, forming a circle. The atmosphere was heavy. Even the breeze seemed to move slowly. The guard pushed Adaora forward. "She is here." The East's eyes were steady, old, and deep. "Adaora Ekwe." "Nyo." Adaora knelt immediately, wiping tears with the back of her hand. Mama Chinya was brought forward too, still holding her fallen hair. The East looked at the crowd. "We heard a scream this morning. We heard accusations. Now, let us hear truth. Speak." Mama Chinya burst into tears. "Izem, look at my hair. Look at my head. This girl rubbed something on my scalp that nearly peeled my skin like yam." She shook the hair again. "See my hair. See what she did to me." The crowd grumbled angrily. The East raised a hand. Silence returned. He looked at Adaora. "Is this true?" Adaora swallowed painfully. "Yes, but I didn't want to hurt her. I only wanted customers to return early. I mixed small relaxer with the cream." The elders gasped. A few women covered their mouths. Someone muttered, "Abomination." The East shook his head slowly. Greed driven by fear is still greed. Adaora bowed her head, tears dripping onto the dusty ground. Then the East continued, "Ngozi, you said you have been watching. Explain." Ngozi stepped forward. Many women came back scratching. "At first I thought it was heat, but the pattern was too consistent. So I decided to test her. I brought someone else. Same thing happened." The East nodded. He turned to Mama Chinya. "Your wounds will heal. Your hair may grow back. But your pain is valid." She sniffed loudly. "I want justice. Let her pay for what she has done. Let her suffer too." Adaora trembled. "Please, forgive me. I will pay for medicine. I will help treat your scalp. I will." "Shut up," a man shouted. The East raised his hand sharply. "No one will shout here." Silence fell again. Then the East spoke slowly. "Adaora will repair all damages she caused. She will pay for treatment. She will work for free for all women affected until I say otherwise." And the crowd leaned forward. "If such a thing happens again, she will be banned from this village." A loud gasp swept through everyone. Adaora's mother dropped to her knees. "Thank you, Is. Thank you." But the matter was not over. The Is pointed his staff toward Adaora. Before anything else, you must confess fully. Were there others? Or is Mama Chinya the first? Adaora felt sweat gather on her forehead. Some women's hair started scratching, but none lost hair like this. The crowd murmured again. One woman shouted, "So we were all victims." Adaora cried harder. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't want it to reach this point." Dees leaned forward. "You will write down every woman you treated these past months. Every one of them must be checked." Adaora nodded quickly. Then Dees stood up, signaling the end of the judgment, but before he dismissed them, he said something that pierced Adaora so. "Your hands were supposed to build your future, not destroy others. You must carry this lesson for life." The crowd began to disperse slowly. Some threw angry looks. Some whispered. Some pitied her. But one thing was clear. Adaora's life had changed forever. The compound became silent again after the elders left. Only the faint sound of crickets filled the air. Amaka sat on a low stool outside her hut, staring at the empty mortar beside her. Her heart felt heavy, like someone had placed a grinding stone on it. She kept replaying her mother's words in her mind, "You must make peace with Chimoonia." Peace. How? After everything. She shook her head slowly, tears gathering in her eyes again. "I know even Sobi if that girl won't see me," she whispered. "If she see me, maybe she go shout. Maybe she go cry. Maybe she go curse me." She dropped her head into her palms. A moment later, she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, careful footsteps. She lifted her head, and Nonkem walked toward her with a lantern hanging from his hand. His wrapper was tied loosely around his waist, like he had been resting before deciding to come out. "My daughter," he said gently, lowering himself onto the empty stool beside her. "You never chop since morning. Your body no fit carry all this thinking." Amaka tried to smile, but her lips barely moved. "Papa, my stomach dey turn. Food no fit stay." He sighed softly and placed a hand on her shoulder. "I know the burden wey dey your mind heavy. But you go do the right thing. You no be wicked person. You just lost way." She looked at him with trembling eyes. "Papa, what if reconciliation no work? What if people still hate me? What if my life no fit change again?" Nonkem shook his head firmly. "Nothing dey permanent. Shame no dey last forever. When person begin repair wetin break, hope go follow. Go tomorrow morning. Apologize to them. No go with pride." She nodded slowly, even though her body felt weak. "Okay, Papa." He stood and patted her head softly. "Sleep small. Tomorrow go long." But Amaka did not sleep that night. She lay awake listening to the sound of goats bleating far off, the hooting of an owl, and the distant whisper of night wind pushing through the raffia palms. She rehearsed the words in her head over and over. "I am sorry. I didn't mean to harm anyone. I was desperate." Yet each time she tried to imagine standing in front of Chimoonia, shame gripped her throat like a tight hand. The next morning, before the sun rose fully, she tied a wrapper around her waist and stepped out. Her heart beat fast as she walked down the narrow footpath, past the village stream and through the cluster of huts that led to Chimoonia's compound. Each step felt heavier than the last. When she reached the entrance, she froze. Noise came from inside, voices of women, laughter, a pounding sound like someone making fufu. She swallowed. How would she even walk in? What if they chased her away with insults? She stepped back slightly, fear rising. Just then, someone touched her shoulder from behind. She jumped. Yezu. But it was Mama Chimoonia, the quiet woman with soft eyes, small frame, and a calmness that always seemed to follow her like a shadow. She held a clay bowl of water in her hand. "You came," the woman said. "Not with anger. Not with bitterness. Just simple observation." Amaka swallowed and nodded. "Mama. I won't beg." Mama Chimoonia looked at her for a long moment, then stepped aside. "Come inside." Amaka followed her, her legs shaking. The compound opened up to reveal a small cooking area, a shade tree, and a low hut where smoke was drifting out of a window. She saw Chimonia sitting on a low bench, braiding a little girl's hair. The girl looked up and smiled, but Chimonia's hands froze. Her eyes widened slowly, and the air around them tightened. Amaka stood there frozen, her palms sweating. She bowed her head immediately. Chimonia. I am sorry. Please. Her voice cracked. I no mean to hurt you. I no mean to hurt anybody. I don't make terrible mistake. I say your treatment they spoil people here. I spread rumors. I damaged your name. I did it because I was jealous. You succeed where I fail. And I couldn't stand it. Silence. The little girl blinked in confusion. The chickens walking nearby stopped scratching the ground, as though even they were listening. Chimonia stood slowly, her expression unreadable. So, now you do everything. Amaka nodded quickly, tears falling. Yes. I no one lie again. I dey ready to face any punishment. But please, forgive me. I dey beg. Chimonia's eyes shone with emotion, a hurt, anger, betrayal, and something else Amaka couldn't name. Do you know what I suffer? Chimonia asked quietly. People tell me say I poison hair. Some avoid my shop. Some insult me for road. Some mothers want their children to stay away from me. You spoil everything I build. Amaka sobbed harder. I know. I know. I no sleep since that day way them expose me. I dey regret every second. Mama Chimonia placed her bowl on the ground and walked between them gently. My daughter, she said to Chimonia, your pain valid. But your heart bigger than pain. If you hold bitterness, it go poison your spirit. The compound became silent again. Chimonia wiped her palm on her wrapper slowly, took a deep breath, and nodded. I forgive you. Amaka fell to her knees immediately. Thank you. Thank you. She cried so much her nose ran. But forgiveness no go erase everything, Chimonia added. You must rebuild your name. You must work to regain trust. Amaka nodded quickly. I go do anything. Mama Chimonia helped her up gently. Go now. Rest your heart. Tomorrow you go continue your journey. Amaka left the compound with shaky legs, but her chest felt lighter, like air finally entered where heavy stones had been sitting for weeks. But things were not suddenly easy. The next weeks were the hardest of her life. Some people still muttered insults when she passed. Some avoided her shop. Some warned their children not to sit on her stool or let her touch their hair. But she didn't fight them. She didn't argue. She greeted everyone with respect. She helped elders carry firewood. She fetched water for people without being asked. She plaited hair for free for some little girls whose mothers couldn't afford it. Each day, she kept her head down and her hands steady. Gradually, painfully slowly, the village began to soften toward her. One morning, an elderly woman named Mama Igodi limped into her shop. My daughter, she said, I hear say you dey try change. Come do my hair. My son dey come back from Lagos, and I won't look fine. Amaka's eyes filled with gratitude. Mama, sit. I go do am well. Then more people came. Then more. Then more. Not because they forgot her past, but because they saw her present. One evening, as she cleaned her combs and folded her wrappers, she heard footsteps again. She turned. It was Chimonia. Amaka froze, shocked. You come here. Chimonia smiled faintly. I see the way you dey try. You dey change. I no want us be enemies again. Amaka swallowed a lump in her throat. Thank you. Chimonia stepped closer. I get one idea. Why we no join hands? My own small shop done full. Your own done dey rise again. If we join, we go handle more customers. And we go teach young girls work. Make them no fall into same temptation. Amaka gasped. You serious? Yes. Tears slipped from Amaka's eyes. You dey show me kindness I no deserve. Chimuonia shrugged gently. Sometimes, kindness dey cure where punishment fail. They shook hands softly, the making of a new partnership. Months passed, and their little joint salon became one of the most trusted and respected spots in the entire village. Visitors from nearby communities came too. Mothers brought their daughters, and young girls sat with excitement waiting to learn new hairstyles. One afternoon, Amaka stood at the doorway watching the lively scene inside, laughter, chatter, braiding, beads clinking. She turned and saw Non came walking toward the shop, his walking stick tapping the ground softly. He looked around and nodded proudly. You come far, my daughter. Amaka smiled with tears in her eyes. Papa, no God and people will forgive me. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Your story go warn others. But it go also inspire them. Amaka looked back at the shop again, her heart full. A journey that began with shame had grown into something good, something beautiful. She didn't erase her mistakes. She learned from them. And she allowed grace to build what envy once tried to destroy. If you're watching this right now, remember, no mistake is too deep for you to rise from. Forgiveness can rebuild what anger breaks. And second chances can change a whole life. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories.